Hey Pod. What is up? Hello, hello. Sorry, I have pants on right now. They are my biker shorts. Excuse me. And I just had a really heavy late lunch for my dad's birthday. We went to a KBBQ spot near the house and it was really good. 10 out of 10, but it was like $60 a person. So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, it was really good food and the whole family enjoyed it, so that was great. But in today's episode of the pod, I I wanted to cover like liking somebody, and it keeps on like reoccurring in my life because I just keep on thinking about it, and I think the only way to get it off my chest is actually speaking about it. So I'm here today speaking about my little situationship from like a long time ago, but I feel like when I feel something, I feel it deeply, and it takes a lot out of me to get over it. This is coming from a girl that had a crush on a boy for almost 5 years. Almost 5 years. I liked a boy in elementary into middle school, and I never had the guts to tell him. So I think that's what shaped my it shaped how I approached who I liked in high school, and I was more bold with my decisions because I was regretful from the past. But that's another story for another time. And on the topic of this situationship, I just I keep replaying in my head the fact that he reached out first. And okay, so like little rundown. We My senior year in high school, I had a mutual friend, and through him, he had his friend, and we kind of all knew each other because we had the same class for 4 years, but I didn't think anything big of him. The guy that I ended up in this situation talking stage with for a very short amount of time. And yeah, I always thought he was cute. My freshman year, I remember on Zoom, but I was way too shy back then to say hi or say anything. And I feel like I really isolated myself up until my junior year in high school. So I never really talked to him ever. I don't really think I recognized him in my classes either because it was kind of like oh, they're cute situation, but I don't know them that well to like them. So that was up until my junior year, and I became friends with one of his best friends, um, because we had Chinese class together, and I sat right across from him. And so this one friend's like, "Hey, let's go to the OC Fair because we were talking about it, or the LA Fair." And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm down. Um, do you know anyone that would be willing to go?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have some friends. I'm not entirely sure if they want to go or not. This and that." So then I reached out to the friend like during lunch or something, and we knew each other more senior year, because I went to the ASB office a few times, and we had Chinese class together, all together. So like I started to know his friend better, and then I kind of convinced his friend to come to the LA Fair, or like we were just it was kind of all up in the air. But then we ended up all going together to the LA Fair, and come that night, we get back. Well, he picked me up from my house, and with my friend's friend picked me up from my house because I paid for their tickets too. Um, but it was really sweet of him to like have picked me up, and we went to the LA Fair, and we got back later that night. The fair was really fun. and we're watching like a scary movie, and his friend like sits right next to me, and I didn't think anything big of it. And if he ever happens to come across this video, which I highly doubt, but like I just think it's funny to me now because like I want to reminisce, and I think it's better for me to speak about it instead of like harbor these feelings and like drive myself like emotionally insane. Um I mean, I'm not at that point in my life anymore. There's so many things that have occupied my time in college, and I think I'm past that point now. But yeah, so he sat right next to me, and the night's chill and stuff, and we're just watching a scary movie. But we're all really squished on this one side of the couch. And we went to Northgate to go get like some tostadas and um, ceviche, like some shrimp avocado ceviche. That was really good. And then while we were watching the movie, his friend, the guy that I ended up getting into this talking stage with, he kind of like grazes my hand, and I was like, didn't think anything big of it. I was like, okay. And then he eventually starts like grabbing my hand, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, I was so confused. Um and mind you, this is the end of senior year. We have like literally 2 weeks until graduation, and this is kind of like new people that I'm around. Like, I've never really hung out with them in high school. I've always been with my band friends and my cousin. So I was kind of shocked, and I think off of like, the feeling of like, okay, he's like kind of cute, and like, I don't know what got me, but um I ended up grabbing his hand too. Or I kind of got like a little irritated because he wasn't being assertive. So I grabbed his hand, and we're like holding hands, and yeah, the night continues, and then the friend that sat across from me, as I was saying, I had to restart this because my storage ran out mid film. But yeah, so his friend looks over, and he's like, and all their friends are like, what the hell? Like, what just happened? And mind you, I'm like kind of in shock too, because I don't know. I think it's the adrenaline of high school like ending that kind of got me too. And I'm just like stunned at kind of what just happened. Because like, if I were to think back on that night, I wouldn't have made any moves. Knowing that it was the end of senior year and college was soon, like, I wouldn't have done anything about it. I didn't think anything of us as just friends before that to begin with. So, like friends, classmate, peers, like you're not super close with them, but you know of them. And yeah, like, so like I'm thinking if he hadn't done anything or like made any moves, then I wouldn't have done anything. Um, and I wouldn't have been stuck for the past year and a half, like on this. And it's kind of crazy because like fast forward into summer, we hang out and stuff, and summer's fun until college rolls around, and we grow distant. We stop talking. Um, I reached out again in December, falling into January 1st. Yes, I fell victim to that. I fell weak to that, and I sent a New Year's text saying, like, I'm grateful for having experienced more of adult life with you and what it's kind of like. And I think I was really high on emotion at that time in my life, just learning how to drive a few months prior, and getting to explore the city with someone new. And it's such a thrilling feeling that I think I thought of this relationship so special. In a sense, I kind of like, I feel like I put him on a pedestal because I personally took piano lessons growing up. And like, I had Asian parents that wanted me to like potentially pursue or do something greater with that. But I hit a point of like resentment when I got to fourth grade, and um, I wanted to quit so bad, and I had been begging them for years prior to quit. Um, and it wasn't until that time in fourth grade, and my parents had recently gotten divorced like a year prior, not too long before me quitting, and they let me. They let me. Um, Part of me regrets that still, but I wouldn't have gone into music in high school, I think, or even picked up the saxophone if it weren't for me quitting piano in elementary. So, in a sense, I'm grateful for that. Do I wish I was more well versed in the piano now? Of course, I do. I always do. But I'm grateful that it led me down the road to have been in jazz band, to have been in marching band, to have made friends with people that I made friends with, and still talk to them to this day. And I went to prom with one of my close friends, like from band as well, and we have good memories and stuff. So I don't think there's a day that I extremely regret that. I used to, um, but it's different now. So yeah, so I think a part of him, anyways, put me, like, I put him on a pedestal for having played piano, and and it was so cool to me. Like, um, I remember my freshman year being on Instagram and like seeing his posts, and I was like, wow, like this guy's like so cool. Um, and in a sense, it kind of inspired me to like start playing piano again. So I dilly dallied in it. I was originally supposed to take piano lessons in high school. I signed up for like piano one for my freshman year, but since it was COVID, they canceled the class. So then I got moved into beginning band and chose the alto sax. And um, it was really just off a whim. I didn't know any other instrument besides saxophone. Um, like sometimes part of me wonders, like, what if I picked up the trumpet instead? What would have happened? Would I have been there's like musical stereotypes, but it's like, oh, okay, like trumpet players are usually really egotistical and like prideful of their playing, and I don't always think that's true. Um, but like I wonder how that would have shaped me as a person, knowing different people, from marching band and jazz. But yeah, I'm still grateful of my experience regardless. And yeah, anyway, so going back to having put him on a pedestal, I think I really romanticized the best parts of this person, and I didn't take into account the red flags that like came barreling my way. Um and part of me like regrets that, but part of me now knows that going into a new relationship in the future, that's something that I need to watch out for. Um and this person is a great person. I will give them that. I've It was hard because I think I wrestled with a lot of people telling me at the end of high school, like, hey, this person isn't good, like they're low-key controlling, and they're just not a good person overall. Um and they're a little bit like narcissistic and stuff like that. And like, yeah, like, but not yeah. But like I think I saw them in a different light because I'm not sure why, but I have I make friends with a lot of people, I feel like, or to a point where we're chill and cool, and people would be surprised that I'm friends with them. And this is in no way hyping myself up. This is just something that I've like seen and kind of reflected on. Because people will be like, hey, you know that person? You went to their party? Or you were invited to this and that? And I was like, yeah, like I know this person, we're cool, we're chill. Or they're like, you know that person? Like they're extremely problematic. And I'm like, well, we're cool. Like there's nothing bad blood between us. And um I don't know. It's because I'm a more easy go person, and I try not to judge people um as best as I can, and like project like positive energy, because I think that's necessary in this horrid world that we live in right now. um And yeah, so come me contacting him in December, we hung out a little bit in the beginning of January, and then he had to go back to school. And I think a part of me just like kind of shattered because I was like, okay, like he's going back to college, like this is real life. And it's something that I'm gonna have to deal with. But I feel like I wasn't reassured in that process, and that was really something that I needed because I've always been the type of girl to reassure myself, and I'm extremely independent and I love doing things on my own. But if I want you as part of my life or as a partner, of course I'm going to want reassurance from you. That's, or, some emotional support to some capacity. And I think since he couldn't be there for himself emotionally, he couldn't do that with me. And I'm not saying he's a bad person. There is just a lot of things that we need to grow on our own. But I don't think I'd ever revisit that relationship because I've already tried, and I only hurt myself more in the process. But to know that I have tried as much as I could, I think puts me at ease because I didn't give up without a fight. And with a lot of my friendships in the past, I have given up without a fight, or the other person wasn't willing to fight for it either. So knowing that I did this time gives me a sense of solace. Like, I do care. I do care about certain people in my life, and I will put in the time to make it work. But it came to a point where 2 months bled into March and April, and I was kind of fed up because there was no stance that he was really giving or an indefinite answer as to where he wanted the relationship to go. And I was even willing to sacrifice, like, hey, even though the lines are blurred right now, like, what do you expect? And that's what I kept on asking. I was like, what do you expect of this? He's like, didn't really give me a clear answer. And I think with that lack of clarity, I was trying to figure that out on my own and establish what that was, because I can't go into anything blindsided like that. And I know I can't because I have high levels of anxiety if the lines aren't clarified and I really like this person. So in April, one night, I decided that this wasn't for me. I decided that I didn't deserve to be in that position. I didn't deserve that after having to try to fight. Okay, so back to what I was saying. I didn't deserve that, and I knew I didn't. And in a sense, he didn't deserve that either, because after me asking for a relationship back in January and him having said he doesn't feel ready, like, I think I should have taken that for what it was and not looked at potential. Because potential is such a skewed delulu. It's such a skewed delusion, because it's like you're putting false hope into what could be. But it's like, no, take the things that are in your face for face value, for what is given to you. If that's their low energy that they're projecting to you, then that's their low energy. It's not going to get any higher. I apologize. My phone storage keeps on bugging, and this is pretty long for what I'm recording. But I don't want to keep this one short because I feel like I have a lot to talk about. But yeah, like I said, take their actions for face value. Don't wait. Don't bear your emotion in potential. Don't, wallow in that, oh, what could be. Like, no, what is what is. What's in front of you is what's in front of you. And it's what you're going to make of it. So I decided in that moment that I'm trying to make it what I want it to be, but it's not aligning with what he wants. And even when I'm asking him what he wants and what he expects of me, there's no clarity. And I struggled a lot with that. So, and I do admit I wasn't the most perfect person in that relationship or talking stage either. Like there was times where he needed support and I wasn't there. Um, because I think I felt that I would be putting my self-respect aside for him. Because there was a point where he and I stopped talking to each other for about a week, and then he reached out because he needed something, and I was just kind of like, no, like that's kind of shitty, and it was shitty. Um, I think any guy asking for an ego boost is pretty shitty after not talking to you for some time. And it just made me realize, like, you, I feel used. Like, after me confessing that I still like you after all this time, and me reaching out again, and you saying you were going to reach out, like, but you didn't, and I had to make the first move, that hurt. So I think there was a lot of resentment still in my heart at that moment, and I decided not to text back because I was like, no, I'm gonna respect myself. Um, but yeah, so that's how that portion went. We didn't talk for a week. He reached out, he called, I picked up. God, this is getting a little like really vulnerable, but I'm gonna put it out there because life's too short not to talk about your experiences, and I don't know. I just feel like I've wallowed in this emotion for too long, for way too long. And it's almost been a year since we've stopped talking. So, um, I'm not regretful of that choice that I made because of all the opportunities that opened up for me afterwards. And I didn't get any pushback when I called him at 9 a.m. in the morning on Easter, which probably wasn't my greatest decision, but I felt that I needed to get it off my chest, um, or else I would explode. And I told him, I was like, hey, I don't think that we should continue talking. And he said, okay. And in not receiving the pushback was a sign, like to me, I need to stop fighting because this person's not willing to fight for it either. Um, and we as people are just not aligned. So that was a green light for me to go. And like I said, I don't regret it because I gained so much clarity about myself afterwards. Um, and I feel like he did too. Like, in the conversations that we had, they got pretty deep. Um, and I hope those conversations brought clarity to who he was as well. And there's benefit that happened on both sides of the parties. Um, but yeah, so after that day on, I was a little emotional. I was like, man, this sucks. But as much as I wanted to go back, I remember the feelings of wanting to get out so bad. Um, I had lost myself within those past 2 to 3 months of like reconnecting. I became more of an angry person and extremely emotional. Um, and I think it's because I never received that reassurance that everything was going to be okay. Um, I had to constantly reassure myself. And I think in that came my insecurities because I was like, I shouldn't feel this way with someone that I want to have as a long life partner. Um, and I'm never in it for the short run. I know that for sure. Like I can't, when people say like for the plot and do something stupid on Hinge or whatever, Bumble, like it doesn't align with my morals. And I'm not saying that makes me a better person, but like that's just not who I am. Um but yeah, so after I had stopped talking to him, about a month and a half passed, and I was like, okay, it's time to remove him off of socials. I don't really want him to keep on looking at my stuff. Um, and I think out of respect for each other, it's better to like not, you know, in a sense, move on. Like, for those people that are still following their exes, like, I think, yeah, I mean, if you don't have bad blood, but I think in order to completely and irrevocably move on, you have to remove them off of your socials. There's no, there's no in between. It doesn't work like that. Um, and that was one thing that I was kind of conflicted with too, because he had still followed his ex. So yeah, so like I'm saying, like these are some signs that you girls need to look out for. If there's any girls that are watching this video, and I should have taken it for face value because I gaslit myself into thinking everything was gonna be okay when I was not okay. Um, and it's funny because like that week, literally after we stopped talking, I I got a position at my school as a student assistant because I had been in the middle of interviewing, and it's just like it was just eye-opening because I had so many opportunities come my way after. Um I'd gotten a job again at my old work, that site that closed down at the end of January. One of my old coworkers reached out again, and he's really cool, but we had like I had the reason why he reached out was because our manager was like, okay, like, hey, like, it'd be cool to have her on board again, like something along those lines, like, okay, like she's already well versed in like, or she's like, she has experience working here, and we could hire her because she already knows, like, there's not a lot of training that needs to go on behind hiring an old hire. So at the other location that my boss owned, I worked there for about 3-4 months. And I also got another job with my mom's friend under her jewelry business, and I just helped her do side gigs here and there, very sporadic. Um, like at those markets that you see, like flea markets and holiday markets and things like that. And I did a little bit of social media work as well. So that was really fun. I got to explore LA too during that time. So I genuinely love that because I did some soul searching. You know, when you're driving by yourself for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, there's some soul searching that you can do. And you learn more about yourself because it's scary. It's scary as a woman, young woman, driving around the city, especially if it's nighttime and places you were not familiar with. I was driving to Malibu, I was driving to LA, I drove to Arcadia this one time. Like, these places are not really close. Oh, Manhattan as well. Um, and yeah, so I learned more about myself through that. And the office job that I got in May of last year was eye opening as well because I wasn't working with many people my age. And the one friend that I made just happened to be in the same program and high school that I went to. So she was honestly the best mentor that I could have asked for in an office environment and job. And she's kind of like my older sister in a sense now. And we talk here and there. Um, but like, see what I'm saying? Like, I felt like so many doors opened for me after that. And I honestly hope the same for him too. Like, if he was able to do some soul searching beyond having the thought of someone that wants a relationship on his plate. So, like, I never want to wish someone bad after we have parted ways. But in a sense, it's like I don't want to see what's going on in your life. Like, I know that might seem a little petty, but like, I just think for my own sake of mental health, it's better to take that step away. Um, and out of respect for anyone else that I come across in the future, I don't want to still have freaking talking stages following me on Instagram and that have be a source of anxiety for somebody else, or vice versa. I wouldn't want to be anxiety ridden with anyone that I'm with in the future following their old talking stages or exes. So like I think it's just a sign of respect for myself and the other person, and I'd rather do it now instead of face it later. So anyways, that's my little spiel. And what I thought would have been a long-term relationship just ended up not being that. And I still question myself, like, was it lustful? What was it? What was it? Right? Like, what the hell was it? Uh, yeah. So that's just part of my thoughts. But I do believe, even with all the relationship propaganda online, um, if the other person doesn't show clarity to begin with and isn't intentional, then it's not worth the time to stay, because that person doesn't know what they want. And if you don't know what you want either, that can get extremely confusing. And both of you guys are just going to be, in a sense, lollygagging. And I'm not saying it's entirely a waste of time. Because you have the ability to find yourself within that. But it is emotional torment. That's what I will say. And there's a sacrifice that comes with trying to chase another person that isn't as interested. So yeah, that's just my little spiel. I think, like, as a woman as well, like, I don't want to be chasing, and I want to be taken care of. Like, I don't want to be the one wearing the pants in the relationship ever. And that's what it felt like. So honestly, for the past almost year, I've just been completely taking a break and focusing on my studies and work and family. And I'm grateful that I have, because of the community that I'm surrounded with and the opportunities that came my way. And I finally start to realize who I am again. Like, yes, I'm the shit. Yes, no dumb the shit. And I just keep on reflecting on, like, everything that I went through in high school and how far I had gotten from my freshman year to my senior year, and how I had done that on my own, because I had never really been close with people until my senior year, which is how I made one of my closest friends the last year of my high school experience. And like I I did a lot on my own leading up to that, and the amount of courage and bravery that it took me to get there, I'm not sure where that came from. As a person that has grown up with one parent in a religious background, I went to church growing up, and I want to say that is part of his plan. Like, and whatever that you may believe in, like, this is not to bash any other religions as well, but if you find purpose in that and you find heart and you find a sense of solace, then believe it. But in my case, I think it's all part of his plan. And everything that has happened for a reason. And it's funny because the day prior to us talking, me and the guy, I had this urge to remove him off of my spam account. And then the next day we went to the fair. But like, I don't know why. Like, it was just this impulsive thing where I was just like, I don't know this person well. It's the end of senior year. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I might just remove him. And then come the next day, literally, like, all the shit went down. But it's just crazy how, like, one day can change a lot. But yeah, part of me feels like it wasn't as significant to him. Maybe it was, but I never got, like, reassurance in that. And I think I had to ask for that. And that's just something that I don't want to settle for. I really don't want to settle for. And I think growing up, you start to realize more of your worth as a person and the people that value you. And that's such a beautiful thing because I know that I didn't settle for less. And we were just not compatible for each other. Like, all goes to say no hate to this person, and he was his own person in his own way, and he showed up in his own way. And I did too. So I think we both did what we could. And that all goes to say that we didn't give up without a fight. Until the very end, right? So, yeah. I think if I still kept contact, I would have left a great dent in my own self-respect, and dignity. And I wanted to preserve that. And here I am now, learning more about who I am as a person and of my worth and what I can bring to the table when I'm at school and in the workplace, and because I'm who of more of I want to be. That didn't really make any sense, but I'm who I am meant to be more now because of those decisions. And I think following your gut instinct is my biggest takeaway. Like, don't you ever take that for granted. Your gut tells you so much, your nervous system tells you so much, and if you feel that you're not in the right place, in the right space with people, like, please trust that. Don't you ever abandon that or ever walk away from that feeling, because your body has intuition and it knows. So yeah, I'm not regretful at all. I still look at our experiences like smiling, low-key. And yeah, in a sense, like wishing things had gone a little differently. But we are who we are now because of it. And I'm not going to try to look back and convince myself of otherwise. Because there are a billion other people on this earth and people that are more compatible for us. And I think that's okay. So it's just a matter of going out there and being brave and exploring. So I thank you all for watching the pod today, and I hope that it has been an insightful, let's say 30 minutes that I've been filming. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a good rest of your month. I will probably continue uploading and staying consistent as much as I can, but I want my conversations to really come from the heart and have meaning. So yeah, I'm here today trying to speak my truth and my experience. But yeah. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.